Okay, once again, we're here with Dr. Larsen of One Shepherd, and our question today, what is the STX? When we look at the One Shepherd website, it's easy to understand what is Warrior Basic, what is Warrior Advanced, what is Land Nav. FTX you can figure out as the final exam. What exactly is the STX and its purpose?
Yeah, that's a legit question. So the STX, what we call the STX lanes or STX seminar, stands for Situational Training Exercise. It's a mouthful and it's pretty esoteric, otherwise meaningless. Okay, so an analogy. I think here you go. You're going to build a house and you need brick and you need mortar and you need lumber, right? Well, those raw materials, that's your land navigation course, your warrior basic course, your light leaders course, leader reflection course. You know, whether you're working on the warrior competencies or the leadership competencies, that's your basic, your raw materials. So you go, okay, well, that's what that is. So then what's the STX seminar? The STX seminar is the subcomponent structures that aren't a house yet. A wall, decidedly, is not a house. Okay? A roof alone is not a house. A door alone is not a house. And I think we'd recognize that. So in building your house, the STX are the things you form out of your raw materials. Okay, so that's the analogy I would get. And those things you form, the roof, the foundation, the walls, the doors, the windows, these are what we put those component parts. We teach all these different warrior competencies. We teach all these different leader competencies, and we put them together in a situation. And that situation is narrowly focused. It's not house. It's bay window. Okay? So I have to, in educational gobbledygook, I have to scaffold. I have to, okay, I'm going to talk about bay windows, but you need to understand some concept of wall for bay window, but I'm not asking you to build a wall today. I'm asking you, let's talk about the bay window. So tactics are like that. Okay, let's play war. Well, that's the house. Let's play war. Let's not. Okay, that's in the FTX, the field training exercise or final training exercise at the end of each semester. Instead, let's play bay window today. Let's play area defense, deliberate attack, screening operations. Each one of these is one of those component parts, but it's very, very difficult to understand it, so we scaffold. We say all the other, well, how did we even get to this defense? Let's scaffold that. In short, the instructors will build that understanding around it. You don't have to do it, because we just want to talk about the area defense. Okay, the area defense, let's do that. So in the situational training exercise, we always offer three things. We offer an offensive tactic, okay? I'll get to that word in a minute. A defensive tactic and an enabling tactic. And enabling, another word they often called shaping. Offensive, defensive, shaping, or offensive, defensive, enabling. And a tactic. I really like what one of our Black Hat instructors said this morning at the STX seminar. He said, well, so what's the difference between strategy and tactics? And it's his answer. It may not be doctrinally correct, but I'll tell you what, it's a solid answer. He said, strategy is the what and why. What are we going to do and why are we going to do it? Tactics is the how. How are we going to do that? So when we talk about deliberate attack, we talk about a deliberate attack. Well, why would we do that? That's going to be discussed there. What exactly is it? That'll be defined. And then we say, how do we do this? Great, let's get into the mechanics of how we do that. How do we plan it? How do we execute it? How do we assess it? Now that we understand that, we'll spend a couple of hours doing this kind of conversation in the classroom. You know, what's great ideas? What have you seen? What have I seen? All this stuff. And then once everybody's going, yeah, I think I get that idea. Great, let's go try it. And then we step out on a lane, thus the Stx lanes, or Stx seminar. We step on a lane for 2 hours, and we go and we run and we do that. And people try it. They sit back and they go, wow, we just battled that out for the last hour and a half. Let's sit down and talk about it, reflect on it. Let's think about what went right, what went wrong. What did we think this would look like before we started? What actually happened? How different were they, and how do we put those together, right? So this is the process of a Stx lane. And oh, by the way, so you did it in the daytime, you did it in the afternoon. That's great. Let's all go eat dinner, and we'll come back and we'll run another lane at night. So you can see that same thing, what that looks and feels like at night, right? So we're putting them in different conditions. These are the tactics. Learning to use your compass and your pace count, learning, acronyms to help you plan, learning to load, fire, and reduce stoppage of an M4 carbine. These aren't tactics. Those are individual skills. Cognitive, psychomotor, affective skills. These are skills that you learn as an individual and apply as an individual. And that's what we do the first 2 days of every semester. You go into one of those various courses. But in the middle of the semester, we all come together, la-di-da-di everybody, to do collective training. Now, instead of me learning as a person, and maybe being teamed with a buddy team to learn as a team of 2, now we come together and we learn as a team of 24, as a platoon, with various moving parts, in the day, at night. Oh, these are tactics. Everything else might be described as micro-tactics. Fine, micro-tactics. It really means individual skills, individual competencies. Individual. See, an individual competency is between your head, between my ears and your ears. We don't share it. Tactics is shared. That's a shared reality. 24 warriors come together and they have this notion of, okay, we're all talking, we're all planning, we're all using these words. Does green mean to you what green means to me? And how green is your green compared to how green is my green? And we have to come up with what they call a collective cognition. A lot of people say that doesn't even exist. And I'm like, okay, but if collective cognition doesn't exist, how does the ship sail? How does the plane fly? Because we don't all have the same job. The pilot is the pilot, and the co-pilot is a co-pilot, and the airline attendants and the engineers and the ground crew are all different, yet we all have some concept about how this flies, and that's shared as a team. And when we work well together, that airplane continues to fly. And when we work really poorly together, it stops flying, sometimes catastrophically. So there is this notion of shared cognition, if in fact it's not a real thing, it is a real reality. And that's what tactics are. Well, where are you going to learn those things? You can't learn them in individual skill sets. You can't go to a gunfighting course and go, okay, I now know how to shoot my pistol and my rifle better. That's not tactics. It's not even close. That's just you. So you come into a Stx seminar and we start teaching you enabling tactics to shape the battle, defensive tactics to protect your team, offensive tactics to impose your will on the enemy. Well, that's a Stx seminar, and that helps you get into that FTX, that final training exercise, that field training exercise, that final test, or that war game. That's really what the FTX is, just a 3-day nonstop war game. Well, how are you going to get good at that? Well, you've got to go through training. You've got to learn it. I mean, you could just keep going to FTXs, and you will learn it. You will. But you're going to learn that gradually. You've got to recreate the wheel each and every time inside your head and your head alone. And then you've got to understand it and get really good at it over 20 or 30 years instead of 3 years. You're going to do this for 20 or 30 years. And oh, by the way, now that you fully understand it, how are you going to share it with anyone? Because it's all stuck in your head. So the way to do this much quicker and share it with everyone is to come learn together. And that's why that's called collective task training. So we learn together. That's what a STX seminar is. It really is the tactics. It's kind of why One Shepherd is a leadership institute, but around the world, quite literally, from Norway to Indonesia, we're known as the tactics guys. It's why our books, our book publications and white paper publications of our different instructors and staff officers, yeah, there's a little bit out there and some good research that we've done on leadership, but we're far more known for our tactics because we explore all the various doctrines, not just U.S. doctrine, but other doctrines, and we write on that. Why do we write on that? Why do we put so much into understanding tactics? Simple. We need to understand the game. Because the game is where you get your command experience. That's your leadership experience. There are so many wonderful schools out there that can tell you all about leadership and all about the things other people have done. I can't hold a candle to them. They're wonderful. They're Harvard. They're very expensive. Go to them. You know what none of them will let you do? Not a single one. They won't let you lead. That's right. Go to your university. Go get your master's and your PhD in leadership. Go to your Boy Scouts, go to your high school, go to all of these wonderful things that claim they do leadership, including the military, ROTC and stuff like that. Oh, we teach leadership. No, 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 they don't. You know why? Because they don't let you lead. One Shepherd does. Come here, and every FTX, at the end of every semester for 3 days, we take this school and all the officers and all the cadre, they go piss off. And they give the school, quite literally, they give the school all of its components and all of its students, and we give that to our students and say, for God's sakes, lead. Well, we've taught you how to do it. Go do it. That's what the STX seminar is.